Hey guys, it's Hun4Games, and looking through the list of the early 40s Notorious Monsters, I'm reminded of why I wanted to do the Monk special last week for the Brown Belt. There's like nothing interesting in this level range. I'm exaggerating of course, but this is a weird range for me because only one lonely spider on this list was something that I actually hunted, and hunted often. But I'm familiar with the gear drops of the other Notorious Monsters, so it is a fun list for me nonetheless. I can finally find out where this shit came from. So, to start off, does anyone remember these very uninteresting gear pieces? The Frost Robe and the Earth Doublet. The Frost Robe was like a big deal back in the day before the Sears Tunic was released, and still a decent option if you didn't feel like shelling out for the gil for the Sears Tunic, because it was kind of expensive for like a low piece of gear. Pretty sure that the Earth Doublet was like, okay, if you were going for Vitality specifically on Paladin or something, but it wasn't that great on the defensive side, so it was like a toss-up. The +4 Vitality did make me feel better. Like, if you're wearing a piece of gear that only has defense, I kind of felt like crap. I was like, oh. Point is, they were just both, like, okay pieces of gear. Not terrible, not great, just kind of there. My favorite level in the game was, like, 18, because you finally get the beetle harness, and it's got, like, +1 evasion. You're like, thank God, I don't suck. But people wore them, because Final Fantasy XI was awesome that way. There were so many gear options, from okay to good to great, and you can focus your investment on other slots. If you had a really great piece of boots or really spent all your money on like a belt, you could have this kind of like okay body piece. So it was really fun finding out that these pieces were dropped by Yahaka the Profane, apparently down in Castle Astrosia. He respawns in the standard 1 hour to maybe more period, but I doubt anyone ever really cared that much. He was probably either up or not. These two chest pieces weren't going to exactly make you, like, overflowing with gil, but someone must have been killing them because I saw them on the auction house all the time. But next we have a gear piece that, when first released, was absolutely absurd in its price. The Astral Earring. This, along with the Assailant's Ring, was dropped by the unique and unusual Padfoot out in Lufay's Meadows. The Assailant's Ring wasn't that exciting. In a world where accuracy was king, 5 attack on a ring was more of an act of desperation by somebody who couldn't afford the sniper's rings. Not that I could blame you, that shit was super expensive. I kind of missed when it's like, you're level 40, you gotta have 2 sniper's rings. That was cool. That was fun. The Astral Earring, however, with its 25 to MP swap, was one of the strongest MP earrings for most of the game. As a Tarutar, I didn't subscribe to such nonsense. I mean, I have a little enough HP as it is, but it could be fun every once in a while to see like how low can we get our HP and how high can the MP get on like Summoner. I'd be sitting in parties like 1200 MP at level 50. I'm like, yeah, 400 HP. Dying to the single AoE that comes my way, but lots of fun. Basically, every other race saw benefit from it, and any job that used MP could see some use for an earring slot with 25 MP. I mean, that's not a bad thing. But when it first came out, it was like millions and millions of gil, like crap loads. Now, of course, in the level 99 world, it's like 5k, which is super depressing. But still. Now, Padfoot is weird and unique because while it has a 21 to 24 hour respawn, which isn't the first time we've seen that even in my like series so far, it spawns in 5 places across the entire Lufay's Meadows all at once. 5 times. Each of those spots will have a Padfoot. There will be 5 Padfoots across the whole zone. But only one of these pad feet is actually going to drop the Astral Earring. I don't know of any other zones that have like a zone-wide Notorious Monster like this that has fake spawns. That's awesome. It was such a neat idea. It allowed lowly peasants such as myself to go out there by myself and just be like, maybe I've got a shot. I could try to camp one of them, see if I could claim him, and then hopefully it's the right one. But you could also come out with like 10 people and basically own the camp. Just have 2 people on each one and just like claim it. It was a really cool idea. Bringing us to another strange, somewhat useful Notorious Monster, Bodo. There's no chance of pronouncing that right. This huge fat piece of slimy ugliness is... Honestly, I had no idea where he popped. I had to look him up. I had no idea. It's the barge, the weird barge that leaves from Carpenter's Landing. I don't even know why you need to ride this thing. He drops a nice little piece of gear for soloing red mages with like some attack, some accuracy, some evasion, the war hose. And more importantly, the Nokuzaru Hakama. The Nokuzaru Hakama are only on Ninja, but it's an invaluable piece for Ninja for like a while. I think this actually explains why there weren't too many of the Nokuzaru Hakama like on the auction house, because this NM is like annoying. It's got 3 agility and +1 enmity already in short supply for those poor tanking ninjas that need every plus enmity piece they can get to keep hate. But they're cool. I wanted them on my ninja, just not enough to hunt him down. More importantly than all that though, it's like one of the coolest pant styles in the game in my opinion. It's got that like Tidus from Final Fantasy X short style. I love this look on Tarutar, and Some of the best pieces of gear in the game start with this general shape. Also, it's not subligar. This is another gear piece that I'd seen plenty of times, I'd purchased plenty of times too, but I just never knew where it came from. So neat. Prepping to camp this guy though was so annoying because I had to wait for the boat at specific times, pulled up to the Vanadil clock for the first time in forever, and took a boat ride up Carpenter's Landing for the first time. I really don't think I've ever done that. If there was a quest, maybe, but I don't think so. Which brings us to one of my favorite moneymakers in Final Fantasy XI. Out in the dry recesses of Vanadil and Eastern Altepa Desert, the lovely DUNE WIDOW. This spider paid for quite a few of my Final Fantasy XI escapades with a delicious spider torque, a poor man's enfeebling torque for all the red mages, white mages, and black mages, just hoping to land a few more paralyzes. I've killed this DUNE WIDOW so many times. I only ever think I got like 2 spider torques, which is pretty good. They sold for a lot, it was like a decent moneymaker. But I don't know how many times I've killed him. I should have kept track. My black mage had this thing forever because of the huge price difference in between this and the enfeebling torque and the lesser need for black mage to be enfeebling at like the top tier level. It was mostly just so I could get my sleeps to land to literally survive encounters. That was why I had one. It wasn't an easy drop to get though, with its fairly wide pop range and over numerous like sand dunes that kind of block visibility. You can't see if he's over the other side. So even in widescan, you're just like, maybe. It was always so funny when there was a piece of gear like this, the spider torque. 2 enfeebling accuracy less than the enfeebling torque. Like a third of the price. On top of that, it had a pretty low drop rate of like 8.5%, plus those damn dune spiders that you've got to kill are just roaming all over the place. It was maddening. Widescan helped a lot here, but ultimately it usually came down to who was lucky enough to be close if you were up against a couple other people. With the Altepa Warp Crystal just being a little bit to the north, there was considerable traffic coming around, and people would be like, I'm gonna go quick to see if like anyone's camping him before he's up, and they'd walk by and get lucky. It happens. Anyways, guys, that's it for the first part of the level 40 to 50 level range. Let me know if I missed your favorite Notorious Monster and your favorite stories from camping these guys. Like the video if you've ever seen Cactrot Rapido running across your screen, because damn, he's ridiculous. Do you remember he's like, I don't know if I could kill him now. Maybe if I grab Summoner, he could like just eat the 10,000 needles. I don't know how he works. Also, please subscribe if you're new. I've got plenty of videos coming each week, and I really hope to see you guys back. So thanks for watching. It's crazy how many pieces of gear I honestly had no idea where it came from. If it was cheap enough on the auction house, I was like, I'm not even gonna find out.